guys, today we're going over the Smith & Wesson M&P VTAC pistol. Get a look at it there. Now you'll notice it is pretty worn because I've had this one for several months now. That said, this gun was made late 2013, so it has a lot of features that are going to be different than the M&Ps I've talked about here on the channel before. Updates to the trigger system and barrel specifically. We'll get into that again coming up a little bit more, but the VTAC is also somewhat unique due to the sights and the Cerakote finish here on the slide. We'll get into that coming up a little bit more, but for right now, we're going to go ahead and try to put some rounds on steel, try to keep them on steel anyway, and then after that, step inside and get a detailed look at the gun. So let's get on with the review. There you go. I did my part, the gun did its part. So no issues there. The gun has been 100% reliable thus far. So far we got a little over 600 rounds through it. So kind of a small sample size, I know, but that's what we found so far. And let's step inside and check out the details. Before getting into the details, I'll just kind of point out a quick history of the gun. The M&Ps have been around since I believe 2006, and the VTAC model is the brainchild of Kyle Lamb, who's a former special operations soldier. He's also the head of VTAC and a very experienced trainer. So he kind of came up with the modifications to make the VTAC, being the slide, the color of the frame, and the sights, which we'll get into in a little bit. Just going over the basics there. It does come with a 17 round magazine. 17 round plus 1 is the capacity. The gun weighs 24 ounces unloaded, has a 4.2 inch 5 barrel. The finish you see on here is not a Cerakote finish, it's actually a PVD finish. Like I said, it's starting to show some wear, as you guys can see, but it's a pretty durable finish. Is it as durable as like a nitriding or something like that? Melanite, probably not, but it will hold up well, all things considered, considering that it is not a actual treatment like a melanite or something like that. It is an actual coating. To disassemble the gun, you just lock the slide of the rear, rotate this lever down. You can either pull the tool out that's in the base here, which this one's probably tight because I don't think I've ever pulled it out, but you can pull that little tool out and press down on a little button in there, a little lever I should say, this yellow lever, which you'll see here. You can see it kind of hanging out there. If I cover that up, that lever hanging out. At that point, we can disassemble without actually pressing the trigger, so you just release the slide. Slide will come straight off the frame. Remove your spring, and then remove your barrel, and that is your field stripped M&P pistol. Now that I have the gun apart, I think it's a good time to take a look at some of the differences between this model and some of the earlier M&P pistols. Now, like I said, this is a 2013 production, and the regular M&Ps as well as the VTAC will have these updates. There have been rolling updates as production has gone on with these pistols to address some of the issues. Now, this here is a barrel from a 2010 M&P pistol that I have here. Taking a closer look at it, you'll see there is no dot on there. What that dot actually indicates, who the heck knows, but I can tell you that I believe in 2013 they switched the twist rate of the barrels over from 1 in 18.75, which it used to be, over to 1 in 10, and that is because the older barrels had trouble stabilizing certain loads. Now, like 115 grain generally would stabilize very well, but some of the heavier stuff, you'd have looser groups with it. Newer pistols with a 1 in 10 twist, similar to what Glocks are using, will stabilize a much broader range of ammo and generally give you more consistent accuracy out there. So that's the changes to the barrel. In the frame, they updated the trigger bar, and now they have a tactical trigger bar, as they call it. It looks very similar on the outside, but the biggest difference, in my opinion, of these guns is what happened here to the slide lock. Now, if you take a look here at the slide lock on the VTAC, you'll notice a little hump right there. That hump, as you look on the older M&P, is not present there at all. And what that hump is doing is it's allowing for when the trigger goes forward, it pushes it forward. So when you let it go, that hump is going to push it forward, giving you a tactile reset. It's audible, and you do feel it as well in your finger. Reassembling the pistol is just as easy as taking it apart. You just put your barrel back in, put your recoil spring back in, Line it up here on the steel inserts in the frame, and something to point out there, it does have steel inserts in your frame. It's not an all polymer frame like some folks like to say about these polymer guns. Lock the slide to the rear, twist that down if it doesn't go down, and then either insert a magazine to get that little lever up, or you just push it up with your finger, let the slide go home, and you're back in business. Now talking about that reset, you can see and hear it right there. Compare what you just saw to what you'll see here on the older pistol. This is the Pro Series as well, I might add, so very little reset at all. Nowhere near as strong and nowhere near as loud. I'm not sure if the camera picks it up, but I can tell you the shooter will. Probably the most controversial aspect about this gun is the sights. Now the sights are essentially 6-dot systems. So on the bottom here you have your tritium inserts. And then on the top, right above them, you have your fiber optic inserts. The fiber optic inserts allow you to pick the sights up very readily, very easily in the day, and the tritium sights allow you to pick them up in low light, as you would imagine. Now, a lot of folks think this is going to be a very confusing sight picture. I honestly thought it would be as well, and I found that it certainly is not. The sights have a good height as well if you want to use them for suppressor use. They do have serrations in both the rear and front sight to cut down on glare. Honestly, I find them to be very user-friendly, and I really like them. I mean, if you were to buy these sights separate, they're very expensive. I think they're upwards of $200 if you just buy just the set, and they come included on this gun. So definitely one of the advantages of this gun, in my opinion, if you like those sights, which I definitely do, is the sights. Looking at the pistol from above, you'll notice that there is a loaded chamber indicator right there, so if there were a round in there, you'd be able to easily pick it up with your eyes and see the brass in there. One thing I don't like about the gun is a lot of Smith & Wessons have it, unfortunately, is that it does have these gigantic warnings here on the outside, so capable of firing with the magazine removed. In my opinion, that's a good thing. It just means it does not have a magazine safety. Definitely something I prefer in defensive pistols. Another advantage that all M&P pistols have is a very low bore axis. So if you look at how it sits here in my hand, you'll see the height of the bore over the hand, very low. It allows you to get pretty high up there and minimize the muzzle flip that you'll have there. Muzzle flip isn't much on a 9mm, we all know that, but getting as high as you can definitely helps with follow-up shot speeds. The beaver tail here, though, does kind of prevent you from getting up as high as you could otherwise without it. Now, it may prevent slide bite. Well, it does prevent slide bite, but it does also prevent you. You could probably get another millimeter up higher if that beaver tail wasn't there, but it is there, so it just kind of is what it is. Other features of the gun include 3 interchangeable back straps that all come with the gun. This here is the large size, which I do prefer as I have very large hands. And the magazine release is swappable from the right side to the left side for you lefties out there, so you can switch it out. And the slide lock is ambidextrous. All in all, I think this is an excellent firearm. It's been 100% reliable, which is always the most important thing with any kind of ammo that I've fed it. You guys have seen it in several hollow point ammo tests in the recent months, and it's never had an issue with any type that I've tested so far. It also eats wolf up just fine, never complains, 100% reliability with that. And the accuracy is improved with that new barrel, and the trigger reset is the biggest improvement in my opinion. I know a lot of you guys watched my pro review video last year, and I was critical of the reset for a reason. I shoot with the reset. I like the reset. It helps me get on target faster, and the previous versions had very poor reset, and this one's much improved. In terms of cost, these pistols come to market generally around $650 plus or minus $100 depending on where you may live and if you catch a sale. That's about $100 to $150 more than your standard M&P, but if you guys like that sight option, it's probably worth it in my opinion. In my opinion, it is worth it. If you don't like that sight picture, hey, just go with the standard M&P. It's got a great finish, and their factory sights are pretty decent in terms of their night sights, I should say. But if you guys have any questions about this this gun, anything else to talk about here on the channel, you can feel free to post below in the comment section, as always. And if you don't have a YouTube account, you can post over on my Facebook page. But thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.